smash the Chicago Bears 38-13. This is why we said that the 49ers had the strongest and the deepest roster in the NFL entering this season, because they can do that to a football team. A team that was up 16-0 on Thanksgiving against the Detroit Lions. Today, the 49ers absolutely thrashed the Bears. At halftime, San Francisco had 320 yards, and the Bears had 4. And remember, all week I was telling you how much better Brock Purdy is than Caleb Williams, and how the media and just people, fans in general, are so biased, probably because what they hear, because they're fed a lot of garbage about the quarterback position. Well, I think that you saw the difference in both quarterbacks today. The reason I put the $60 million version of Brock Purdy showed up in the headline is, well, because that's why Brock Purdy is going to be worth all the money that the 49ers pay him. I don't care how they structure the contract. I'll report it on it objectively when it does come. But the bottom line is that the 49ers have themselves a dude at the quarterback position. Against the Bears today, Brock Purdy, 20 of 25, 325 yards, a 145.4 rating, and he was at about 0.8 expected points added per drop back. So nearly a point of expected value added every single time Brock Purdy dropped back to pass today. That was one of the best single game performances of any quarterback from this 2024 NFL season. And you know what? It was in conjunction with Kyle Shanahan getting back to the roots of the 49ers offense. I mean, if you watch this show on a daily basis, you probably were smiling as you saw the 49ers throw a screen pass to George Kittle early in this game. It went for 33 yards. By the way, before the game, got to give credit to her. I briefly talked with Jan, who's George Kittle's mom, and she said, I think that George Kittle, my son, is going to go for 150 receiving yards today. George Kittle's final line, 6 catches, 151 receiving yards. So as they say, mom knows best. Anyway, screen pass to George Kittle early on. Another screen pass to George Kittle, I think on drive number 3 for the 49ers. Kyle Shanahan entering the game against Buffalo a couple weeks ago, or last week, had only attempted 25 screen passes. He'd only called that 25 times for the 49ers this year. That was the fewest screens in the NFL. So basically, Brock Purdy's job had been harder than anybody's job in the entire NFL. Lowest separation for the 49ers, fewest gimmies schemed up by Kyle Shanahan. We said that Shanahan had to make things easier for Brock Purdy. And today he definitely did. They went back to those basics offensively with the screen passes. They set up play action. Isaac Guerendo will have an injury report on him soon. He had to leave the game early to the locker room, but he caught a check down from Brock Purdy early for a first down on the 49ers' first third down conversion of the game that looked like the 49ers offense from 2023, except that Guerendo was playing the CMC role. I saw a comment here that was absolutely idiotic, and I'm going to call it out. Somebody said, you can't pay Brock Purdy based on one game. Well, you can pay him based on the fact that he's an MVP finalist and has been the most efficient quarterback in the NFL ever since he entered the league in 2022. Quit moving the goalposts. Before this game, you didn't care about what Brock Purdy had done in 2022 and 2023. Now, after this game, you're saying, oh, you can't base it on this one game. You would have based it off this one game if Brock Purdy played poorly, but he didn't. This channel's for objectivity, so go ahead and X out of the video right now if you don't want objective analysis of the 49ers' 38-13 win. Guerendo, 15 for 78 today. I said Kittle, mom was right. She said 150 yards. It's 151 yards for him. Jawan Jennings, there was a catch by Jawan Jennings off of an insanely good throw from Brock Purdy in the second half, when the 49ers needed just a little bit more offensive production to put this game away. It was a cross-hash throw for Purdy, who rolled to the left, threw back across the field about 50 air yards to Jennings, who was waiting to grab the pass. That it just reminded me, there was somebody who told me a couple weeks ago that Brock Purdy can't consistently complete an out route. Well, he just completed 50 yards. Cross-hash, one of the hardest throws that you'll see in the NFL this season to get the 49ers moving again. Jennings was really good today. Scored a touchdown diving across. I noticed that the 49ers broke tendency several times today. Jennings on his touchdown, the Bears bit on the out route, but that's what Jennings normally runs, especially in those third down situations with Brock Purdy. But instead, he cut inside and he dove for the touchdown. It was downright comical in the first half, the way that the 49ers flex their muscles. I said 320 yards to 4 for the Bears. Purdy was 13.6 net yards per pass attempt, so this includes sack yardage. Caleb Williams in the first half was negative 0.5 net yards per pass attempt. So every time that Caleb Williams dropped back, when you average those together in the first half, the Chicago Bears actually lost yardage. That's how good the 49ers defense was. I thought they threw more disguises in there, but mainly they were helped by what I had talked about the entire week, that Caleb Williams is not a good quarterback. He takes way, way too many sacks. He was sacked 7 times today, including one where the 49ers didn't get to him, but he threw the ball backwards. But Leonard Floyd, 2 sacks. That is now 8.5 sacks on the season for Leonard Floyd. He has notched 10 sacks in each of the last 4 seasons. So he's well on his way to 10 sacks again. And now I really do wonder, there's a showdown coming up against the Rams on Thursday. That's another one, Leonard Floyd's former teams. He started his career with the Bears. He was with the Rams during a lot of prime years. Brandon Staley was a coach of his at both spots in Chicago and in LA. And now Leonard Floyd has a chance to get back up to that 10-sack mark. Maybe the 49ers are going to have Nick Bosa back for that showdown on Thursday night. Malik Collins got a sack. Yetur Gross-Matos got 2. I mean, the 49ers were all over the backfield today, but Caleb Williams just doesn't get rid of the ball in time. He's been sacked more than any other quarterback in the NFL, 56 times now. And you saw the stark difference between quarterbacks. Brock Purdy was getting rid of the football, and he was getting it to open receivers. Caleb Williams was holding on to it, even against 4-man rushes, confused by the 49ers' coverages, and San Francisco just had a massive, massive advantage when it came to the QB position in this game. And it's not just the QB position, it is the QB coach combination. The play callers got to be on the same page. And the areas where Kyle Shanahan had struggled this season, I thought that he was on it today. And then you could see how a domino effect can actually happen in a positive manner instead of a snowballing negative manner, which we had seen with this talented 49ers roster throughout the early part of this season. But once you start hitting on a couple of those third downs earlier, once you start giving Purdy some rhythm, like the first play of this game was an out route schemed from Shanahan for Purdy to Juwan Jennings. It picked up, 7 yards? It wasn't a huge game. Yeah, it wasn't a huge gain, but it was huge in this game because it was able to get Brock Purdy in rhythm. On the third down, he hit Isaac Guerrero. 49ers were off and rolling. The screen pass was, I think, on that drive as well. I think it was on the second series of plays in that drive. That was to George Kittle. And all of a sudden, the 49ers looked like the 2023 offense again. This was the first time that they eclipsed the 30-point mark in over a month. Late October against Dallas, the 49ers scored 30. I think they scored 36 against Seattle on October 10th. Today, 38 points for the 49ers, a season high, and that is without Christian McCaffrey, without Brandon Ayuk. They're relying on elite play from Brock Purdy. They were relying on good schematics from Kyle Shanahan, but mainly the 49ers have the quarterback to physically be able to execute all these things. Now, there was a scare later in the game. When Purdy got his neck bent backwards, it's going to be quite a fine against the Chicago Bears. The linebacker who got Brock Purdy, it looked scary. I mean, on the replay, did not look good. Later, it seemed that Purdy might have dinged his hand as well. So I'm going to go check on all that in the locker room here at Levi's Stadium. But he came back in after missing only one play, and the entire crowd here at Levi's Stadium was chanting Brock Purdy's name. So we're going to have a very, very interesting postgame now, talking to the 49ers. By the way, I'm in the Levi's Stadium engineering room. This is where the post-game shows happen. The disguised defenses for the 49ers were a big step up. They shut out the Bears over the course of the first half of this game, which I think was a big departure. Remember that Caleb Williams entered this game and the Bears entered this game staring down a 49ers defense that ranked second to last in the entire league over the past 2 games. And today, it was a lights-out unit. They only gave up 1 first down in the first half. Again, negative passing yardage given up in the first half if you factor in the sacks, only 4 total yards given up. It was dominant. I thought that the negative of this 49ers performance might have been how they seemed to let up off the gas defensively coming out of the second half, out of halftime. The only good part about that was that the Bears took over 9 minutes to score. against the 49ers. The fact that it took them over 9 minutes to score meant that they weren't on track to come back in this football game, and the 49ers were in good position. I didn't like how the 49ers on the next drive offensively threw the ball twice. It was a couple of lower percentage scores. And boy, the Rams and the Bills, that game is tightening up. 44-42 with 52 seconds left. Hopefully I can stay on through the end of that game so we have an answer before I leave to the locker room. Mike, please keep me updated. But that first drive for the 49ers of the second half offensively, 2 incompletions, they ran off only 57 seconds. I think people probably started to get a little bit nervous knowing this team's track record of blowing leads. But today they slammed the door. And that was that Purdy cross-field 50-yard throw. That was absolutely insane. Again, Brock Purdy today, 13 yards an attempt. Most in the NFL. Second was Sam Darnold at 12.4 yards per attempt. I guess there's a big fourth down happening in the Bills-Rams game. So please keep me updated, Mike. I am waiting with bated breath as I look up here. It's a Buffalo 42. Oh, my goodness. So the 49ers and the Rams play here at Levi Stadium on Thursday. San Francisco improves to 6-7. So they're very much still in this. The fact that the Rams have put up 44 in the Bills' defense after Sean McVay looked dead in the water with his schemes earlier this week, and it looks like the Rams win. So I was going to say, even if the Rams lost, the fact they put up 44 in Buffalo just tells you something about this league. Now that the Rams have won this game, oh boy, it makes the hype for this Thursday even bigger here at Levi Stadium. The Rams and the Niners have played some massive games in this building, massive games in both buildings. This Thursday, though, is going to be a huge, huge one because the loser of that game is not going to have a very good chance to come out on top of this division. Unfortunately for the 49ers, or maybe it's fortunate because it was a division game, so the Cardinals lost, but the Seahawks did win. The Seahawks are hosting the Packers, and then they're hosting the Minnesota Vikings. Sam Darnold, 12.4 yards per attempt today. He had 5 touchdown passes today. 49ers are going to be relying on their former backup in a couple weeks to beat the Seattle Seahawks. But Green Bay's going to have extra rest facing Seattle next weekend. Remember, the 49ers will play another game before that happens. So strap in. This is about to get really interesting. If San Francisco can beat the Los Angeles Rams, who just beat the Bills 44-42 here at Levi Stadium on Thursday, the 49ers will be back at 7-7. The Seahawks will have a couple really tough games at home, and it's going to be anybody's ball game, I think, from here to the finish line. The 49ers needed a muscle-flexing performance. I've been talking about how talented this team has been for several months or several years at this point. And is the game over? Mike is texting me now. It's 4th and 7. Are you guys talking prematurely in the chat section? I'm relying on you guys in the chat section to know if that Bills-Rams game is over. Either way, they're going to be playing here on Thursday. 7 seconds to go. Okay, got it. So I'm going to stay here until that game is officially over. Mike, please let me know when it is officially over if that is the case. Purdy today, 325 on a 145.4 rating. For everybody who was part of the conversation yesterday online trying to tell me that Caleb Williams is better than Brock Purdy, well, you just saw it today. Caleb Williams is not better than Brock Purdy. 49ers have the QB to go on a run. Now, do they have the rest of the team to go on a run? Today, indication, 2 thumbs up. Complimentary football, it's something that the 49ers had not shown in a very long time, and the 49ers showed that complimentary football today. I think a lot of people were, well, the Rams versus the Bills is the first game in NFL history to have over 850 combined yards with no turnovers. It reminds me of the no punt game in 1992. 49ers and the Bills also involved the Bills. Steve Young against Jim Kelly. That was a game with no punts and I think over 1,000 yards of combined offense. The Bills actually won that game in Candlestick. Well, today the Rams and the Bills in a game that defense forgot down at SoFi. That can end up being good news for the 49ers in the long run because the Rams host the Seahawks in Week 18 at SoFi. Isaac Guerrero has a possible foot sprain, by the way, according to Kyle Shanahan. Anyway, I'm off to the 49ers locker room. We'll talk to everybody soon.